Rich, big day yesterday in the NFL. NBA we got to get to, but to me that felt like a changing of the guard. I want to get into what happened with the Bills, what happened with the Chiefs. Everyone's talking about Mahomes, the dynasty and everything. I think I don't think that's actually the big story from yesterday.
Could
I
we
want to get into it.
just not talk about my Browns?
No problem. No one's talking about who's talking about your Browns.
I'm going to tell you.
You want to talk about? I'm not talking about the Giants.
Here's the thing. Let's get out the way. I need to get this off my chest. It was a bittersweet Sunday yesterday because I think everyone jinxed us saying that it was going to be a trap game. That's what they were saying. And we go on the road.
Wait, who are you talking about now?
My Browns.
Oh, will you stop? Listen, let's...
No, but seriously, because when the Browns lose, my Mondays are like
yeah, same with
low
but you know
energy.
what? The Giants are at the point where if they would have won that game, I'd have been mad. Because at this point, it's a wasted season, get a draft pick.
But yesterday I was torn. Let me tell you why. Because as much as the Cowboys are America's team, I truly believe when the Bears are good, they are culture's team. They are the coolest team in the league.
When the Bears are good.
When the Bears are good.
Bears have been good once in my lifetime.
No, but
in
this
85.
is what I'm saying. If they can ever get back there, they have the brand. Yeah. They have the logo.
That's a whole other subject. Let's get this show
and
formatted.
Kevin Warren's like a brother to me. He's the president of the Bears. But my Browns.
Why are you still on the Browns? All right, look. So we'll start with the NFL. We'll go through all that stuff, okay? Cowboys losing the whole thing. I want to get to the Lakers last night.
Not again.
Yeah,
please,
because
please.
you are.
I can't.
You're in a hilarious position with the with that
I'm not
game
in a
last
hilarious
night.
position. Listen,
Simmons and me. That's hilarious. We were on that little group text.
Yeah.
About who you represent in that game and how it. I need to talk to you about that.
Okay, fine. But I just want you to know you caused me a lot of because I have to be. Here's the thing. I cannot lie on the show.
I know.
And as you know, I own seats. I represent players. I have to go into the arena. You know,
when you called me about this show, I was thinking, he really wants to do. How's he going to do that? But I want to see it.
But
how are you going to thread this needle today in a little while? How do you thread that needle?
Because I don't say anything to you that I don't talk about with the guys I represent. So they know, like, okay, Rich is going to tell the truth. Like, I'm not going to go crazy and go overboard, but I can't. You know, fans want me to be delusional sometimes.
Have you had a problem with any clients since this show started?
No.
All right. I want to talk about the Cup, the NBA.
You should want to talk about the Cup because the Cup. I told you.
Yeah. I mean, there's a whole thing about that, and then let's get to the Cup. All right. And then the baseball offseason, everyone's mad at the Dodgers. I want to get into that if we have time.
Why would you be mad at the Dodgers?
Exactly.
I enjoy the World Series.
I'm mad at the Yankees for not being the Dodgers right now. But we can get to it. We've never hit on Lane Kiffin. We keep like, hey, let's talk Lane Kiffin.
What did Lane Kiffin do?
We're going to get to it.
He took a job. The man how could you have an issue for taking a job?
That's the show. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds like a great show. It sounds like let's do it.
Let's do it. Game Over is presented by FanDuel. FanDuel's got it all. Same game parlays, quick bets for jumping in live and your way so you can build the bet that fits your play. Plus, don't miss out on holiday offers and surprises all month long. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/GameOver to get started. 21 and over and present in select states or 18 and over and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Rich, I'm watching the Bills come back on the Patriots.
Hell of a game.
Hell of a game. And if you watch that game from the kickoff, you see that it felt like a Patriots win early, not just because they were winning, but because the way the game was going. It looked like an old school Patriots team that's just better than everybody. And Drake May looked so good early, and the Patriots defense. And I'm thinking we're going to come out here and talk Josh McDaniels, and I was going to be talking about like his influence at straddling two dynasties potentially, depending on what the Patriots wind up doing. And Josh Allen comes back on him. But Rich, what's crazy is last week he beats Joe Burrow in a game, the type of game that Joe Burrow usually wins. This week he does it to the Patriots and Drake May and Vrabel. And Rich, as he salts away the game, I'm like, okay, this game's over. Let me flip over to the Chiefs game because it looked like they were going to win that game. And Mahomes goes down with an ACL.
I know.
And then Gardner Minshew couldn't get it done. So right when Josh Allen, who's having the best season in football, let's be honest, Matthew Stafford might still be the MVP, but Josh Allen looks like he has ascended.
Having a hell of a season.
He's ascended to like the guy right as the Chiefs season ends and Patrick Mahomes gets hurt. Did you not feel yesterday? It felt to me like a kind of changing of the guard.
Well, it was like four things that happened. One, that first half, I'm looking at Drake May. He's at like ZZ's with the MVP trophy having a spread. He's like,
it felt that way.
And it's super player. I'm like, Drake, because, Patriots, Robert Kraft. I like the Patriots. But it's so hard to not root for a guy like Josh Allen because he plays to the level that you would want your quarterback to play pretty consistently.
You would wish your quarterback played.
But when he falls short, he holds himself accountable. He's a true professional. The Bills, I like the Bills organization too. So you can't take anything away from him. But then the Mahomes thing, it's like that's a high. Both of those things are high. First half for Drake May, second half for Josh Allen. But then when Mahomes goes down, it's like that it's so unfortunate for that. But when you really think about it, and I always think about this when NBA teams go to the finals for 4, 5, 6 years in a row, he's played so much football.
Yeah, he's played an extra season at least, yeah.
And not only has he played so much football, the way he plays football. So when you think about that, sometimes you're like, wow, if you look at the way he played, it's almost like he's done unbelievable for him not to ever be injured to this point. So when you talk about
they haven't always had an offensive line and
the scrambling, the diving, how he comes up with those trick passes, just anything to keep the chains moving. His name should be that. Keep the chains moving Mahomes, because that's who he is.
When he lost his keep the chains moving guy, or at least Travis Kelce's production has gone down with age, that's when it all came up. He needs his keep the chains moving partner.
Because he just is impulsive. The NFL, it was a great day in the NFL yesterday.
It felt like, this is what I'm saying.
But I hate to see Mahomes go down.
Of course. But I want to talk about Josh. Like, everyone thinks Mahomes is a story right now. And look, they're eliminated from the playoffs. The man has never not been in the AFC Championship game. So I understand why people are looking at that. And of course, speedy recovery, Patrick Mahomes. He is the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. But
hopefully he don't do that. But it's Allen's time. It's Josh Allen's time.
This is the thing about Josh Allen. I have never been as high on Josh Allen as everyone else. Like, I just feel as though he's had enough at times to make deeper playoff runs. He hasn't done it, like Lamar Jackson.
Did my Browns pass on Josh Allen?
A lot of teams passed on, a bunch of teams. I don't remember.
That's not what I asked you.
I don't remember if the Browns.
Did my Browns pass on Josh
I don't remember. While we're figuring that out, I've always liked Mahomes better for obvious reasons. I always liked Joe Burrow better. I look at Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson kind of similarly. Incredible regular season players. Let me see you lead your team to wins in the playoffs, make deeper runs than you guys have made. But I got to say, the eyeball test this year has said Josh Allen's better than Patrick Mahomes. That's what the eyeball test has said. The numbers this year have said Josh Allen's better than Patrick Mahomes. And anytime someone brought them up together, I'm like, stop. Mahomes is an all-time great. Josh Allen, let's see him get it done when it matters most. At this moment, this is the first time I would say in Josh Allen's career, that's the best quarterback in football. Like there's when your eyes tell you something, you look down at the numbers, that says something. You look at the team results, and they all say the same thing. I think that's the best. And I know it's not like when I was a kid in tennis, Borg would win everything all the time. And at a certain point, McEnroe beat him head to head. And that was a changing of the guard. When Michael Jordan beat Magic Johnson in the finals, there was a definite changing of the guard. I'm not saying that's what's happened with Josh Allen. He hasn't done it yet. But it felt yesterday like a sea change, at least in the AFC and among the quarterback rankings. Like something happened yesterday that deserves to be noted. To me, Josh Allen's the best quarterback in football.
I don't think you said anything wrong there. I think Josh Allen has played his way to that perception from you. I think it's deserving. When you play well, you get those flowers. I don't necessarily like to be like, oh, I think Burrow and Mahomes is a head and shoulders above. It's yearly, right? Because Lamar Jackson's been the MVP. So that means he's had a better year consecutively than all those guys for the regular season. But then come playoff time, it's a different dynamic.
But I think playoffs illuminate that stuff.
That's what I was going to say. We focus on the playoff wins, the same thing in any other sport. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Josh Allen getting his flowers. I'm okay with that.
So the Browns pass on Josh Allen twice, as it turns out.
Twice?
It's funny because I'll remember if the Giants pass on a guy, but you asked me about I'm not paying attention to the Browns. They passed on him twice, yeah. But Josh Allen, remember, coming out, he was a big, high potential, but raw
That is not true.
Player.
That is not true.
He was raw coming out, but big
What
arm.
quarterback?
Big, strong guy.
Okay.
Good for a cold weather franchise for sure.
You realize Mahomes went, what, 10?
Yeah.
If you did a redraft, what would Mahomes go?
1.
Exactly.
No.
Twice.
But
Twice. You know
mentioned,
who else passed on somebody twice?
Huh.
The last time somebody passed on somebody twice like that was the Minnesota Timberwolves. They passed on Steph Curry twice.
Yeah.
I represented Johnny Flynn, so I know. They passed on Steph Curry twice.
Listen, I get it. I get it. You see what came before and see what that, and if someone's doing something new, how do you know that that's going to happen,
What I'm just saying is that it's a franchise-changing thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but no, I'm rolling with Josh Allen.
So you mentioned something to me interesting about Mahomes and the injury this morning when we were chopping it up about the show.
Yeah. I think, look, Mahomes, he's injured, right? I saw his statement that he came out on social media, and obviously, to no surprise, he has the right attitude about it, very positive about it, and I think he will come back, right? ACL injuries are not what they used to be,
right?
With today's technology and things of that nature. But his rehab process, this is now, you have to put strategy around this. Do you want to come back as soon as possible? Or do you want to really take it slow in the rehab? The reason why I say that,
as safely as possible.
Yes, because the reason why I say that is because I imagine if you are the Chiefs, we think Kelsey's probably not coming back after this year.
I mean, even if he does, he's not Travis Kelce anymore. He's
always Travis Kelce. We're not doing that.
But what I'm saying,
we're not doing that, Max. Let's move on.
When I say that, let me say,
you're not going to give any Travis Kelce slander on this show.
It's the opposite of slander. Roy Jones once got mad at me for this. I like protecting a
Roy
guy's...
Roy Jones isn't from Cleveland, and that's my guy.
I like protecting a guy's legacy. I'm protecting his legacy.
The man drops one pass, and you talk about his legacy?
Rich, I don't want people looking back at this Travis Kelce and thinking
you can't look
that's
back.
Travis Kelce.
You can only look back at the Travis Kelce that's going to wear a yellow jacket. That's it.
Yes,
that's
but that dude isn't this. That's what I'm saying.
He is that. He's exactly that. He's the Travis Kelce that's going to wear a yellow jacket.
Okay, whatever.
Okay. But here's what I'm saying about Mahomes. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs front office? How are we approaching this? Because if I'm looking down the road, obviously in the NFL, you can restructure contracts, you can move pieces around. Let's really evaluate. Let's take this next year and really evaluate everything from production to character to professionalism to approach, because we're going into not a reset, because the Chiefs are the Chiefs and they're Super Bowl, championship organization. Let's go into a reset. Let's sit down, and then let's look down the road. And you know who's down the road? That guy in Columbus.
Receiver?
Jeremiah Smith.
And
if you...
So you want to put... Yeah.
This is just how I think. I'm not saying it can automatically happen, but you want to give yourself the best chance of this happening. Because let me tell you why. If you got Mahomes coming back, healthy, year and a half off pretty much, you know he's going to attack the rehab. The Chiefs, they built a new practice facility. They got the new digital this to that, everything going, right? Hot tubs, cold tubs, PT, everything. And then lo and behold,
6'4". Yeah.
You got Jeremiah Smith, who at a very young age came into Ohio State program as a pro.
Right.
Pretty much. I'm talking about in terms of how he looked at things, his entire approach, football, and really their whole receiving core. But Tate has to leave this year because Tate could be the first receiver off the board this year.
So you have an extra year.
You have an extra year.
While Mahomes rehabs to wait on the guy that you try to bring in.
If I was Mahomes,
it's the Buckeyes, man. You're really in the bag for the Buckeyes.
But here's what I'm saying. If I was Mahomes, I would go to Ohio State game with the scouts next year. I would go. I would manifest this thing with me and Jeremiah Smith. Because now...
What's it called? Interference? What is it called when an agent... What do they call that in sports?
I don't represent Mahomes.
So you're good talking about this. I'm just trying to protect you right now.
I don't need any protection. This is how I think.
Okay.
I'm just saying, it's strategic.
Yeah.
Because now if you get that...
Giving away the game. Yeah.
It's game over.
Yeah, game over. Yeah, free game.
But here's what I'm telling you. Because now if you have that, not to mention, I think they both, if I'm not mistaken, are Adidas athletes, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
I
we
wouldn't
could double
know.
check that.
I don't, yeah.
We could double check that. I think so. But nevertheless, if you have that, now you can really start to really plan things out, because I have my quarterback, I have my number one option from the receiving core. Andy's still there. Ownership group is still intact. Defense, I think Chris Jones is still there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like just when you thought the Chiefs was out, they're right back in. So I believe that the approach to Mahomes' rehab should be, the fans should take it, hey, just hear me out for a second. Just take it slow, and give yourself the best opportunity.
By the way, as a fan of a team, I always want, if a dude has a catastrophic injury, I would always rather err on the side of caution. Because if you're impatient, you can wind up with worse outcomes long term.
Yeah, but we see
I'd much rather be patient.
We see these guys not rushing back, eager to get back.
Yeah, sure. Especially with that football mentality. By the way, speaking of the ACL, can you remember another day in the history of sports where two players on the level of Mahomes and Micah Parsons went down on the same day with the same catastrophic injury? Like, Mahomes is the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. Micah Parsons is the closest thing I've seen at outside linebacker to Lawrence Taylor. And I'm not saying he's Lawrence Taylor. I'm just saying, if he's not, tell me another outside linebacker who was more like Lawrence Taylor than Parsons. Like, that is ridiculously high-level athletes to go down with ACLs on the same day.
I cannot say Lawrence Taylor just yet, but I understand what you're saying.
I'm not saying, well, no. I'm saying give me someone who's more like LT.
The dynamic of it all,
yeah.
the freakish athleticism, can play, standing up, can play with his hand in the dirt, really, drop
get
back.
To the quarterback like that.
Everything, yeah. Micah's unbelievable in that case. But this is why seasons and strategy and decision-making is so fragile. Because think about it. The Packers was right. We're going to get the key piece to our defense. We're going to plug them right in.
And it worked.
And it worked. The only thing that's undefeated is injuries.
Yeah.
Because you can have the best plan. We've seen it. And I don't want to beat a dead horse or bring up old stuff, but we've seen it in other sports. The plan is great until it's not. And the only thing that can really make it not is an injury to that guy. Somebody else could have been injured, but the fact that it's Micah Parsons and that's the chess piece.
I'm trying to think. Are you talking about a client of yours that was involved in a trade when you said I don't want to beat a dead horse?
No, I'm not.
Because I'm thinking about one of the reasons that people hated the Luka AD trade was not just because of the age or the way Luka's perceived, but AD, his history tells you 60 to 65 games a year, right? He's tall. He played the way he played. He's gonna miss 20-ish games in a season. So that's, I think, and given his age, that was like the main reason people got mad at that trade, because AD is a superstar. But it's like you can look and say, hey, there's a high chance for injury or physical deterioration here. So when that happens, if that goes sideways, people can actually get mad at the plan. But with a guy like Micah Parsons, it's not like, oh, he's some kind of special injury risk. They got him in his physical prime. So that's just bad luck that happened.
That's just bad luck. And it's never, I cannot remember a time where two guys at that level that means that much to their organizations go down on the same day.
Think about this. The Chiefs were eliminated basically on the next play from the playoffs. Who says if Mahomes is in that game, they don't win that game, right? It looked like, oh, they have a good chance to win. Gardner Minshew, very good backup, came in, did what he tried. He tried to do what he could do. They lose, right?
Right.
And at the same time, Parsons goes down. The Packers are live in the NFC. They lose that game, and your entire kind of prognosis, right? The way you would project them to play and how far they could go change. They go from, hey, they might win the Super Bowl to, I don't see the Packers winning the Super Bowl.
Well, the thing is, when a guy gets injured like that, it's not just about him. It's also about the rest of the team. You know, you lose your morale in that moment because a guy, we saw it in the Game 7 of the finals. You know, when Halliburton goes down, it's like, man, you know, it's just a real...
You lose your leader, at least on defense in this case.
Yeah, and it's also like, you feel for that person, right? You know, no matter how strong they are, when you are a close-knit team, you feel for that person. And I've been there with a ton of injuries. You know, when Kyrie was injured in the finals at Golden State, that was another, you know, tough one that, who knows, you know, it changes the outcome of the series in that matter. So
the morale is a thing. The fact that you just lose Kyrie or lose Micah Parsons, there's no way to replace that.
For those guys.
Cannot make up for that level
and that's
of talent.
Where people got on T. Lue when he said what he said about the next man up. You can say next man up mentality all you want, but if the next man up is not equivalent to that level of impactfulness, it's not really the next man up.
Right.
It's the next man available that we actually have to put out.
Although
there,
what's crazy in the NBA nowadays is Banchero goes down, they get hot. Trae Young goes down, they're fine, right? Like there have been instances, and there are other examples where LeBron went out and they were okay. There are examples of, in the NBA right now, especially, I think, a super important piece going down and the team still...
Well, you're talking about two separate things here. Mahomes and Parsons are critical pieces of winning a championship, obviously, right? Because the Chiefs aren't playing to go to the playoffs. They're playing to win a championship. And when you trade for a guy like Micah Parsons, you only have one thing in mind.
Right. You're looking for the chip. Yep.
He's not talking about making the playoffs. They want to win the Super Bowl. Those other guys, you know, Paolo goes down with a slight injury. You're just talking about a different style of play.
I mean, when he went down, the coach was under fire and the team was
100%.
losing, and then their best player goes down and they start winning.
Well, but again, when you talk about best player and best way to play are two totally separate things. So sometimes when you have the best player, it's up to the best player to recognize, okay, how are we actually playing the game with what we have, and where do I fit in, right, in moments? Because oftentimes, especially in basketball, especially today, like there's no authentic identity to most teams today like it was back in the day.
Or like the Heat have an identity, right?
Like the Heat is a system. They can have sports system. They're gonna play.
But they changed their whole identity in terms of the way they play. But they have an identity. We're going to play fast. We're going to do it like this.
Well, before all that, you're going to play right. That's why guys can go to the Heat and really do well. I mean, you take guys that was on the Heat, and then when you take them off the Heat and put them in a different environment, it's sometimes not the same. But going back to the point, when certain guys go out, even like Trey being off the Hawks for a moment, well, that just allowed them to play a different style. Now you got a 4-man and Jalen Johnson that can rebound, push, get into a dribble handoff,
and bring the ball up and all that stuff. Yeah,
but it's less high pick and roll every time down.
And in this modern NBA, when you have the high pick and roll and it's 2 guys playing basically and 3 guys standing around, that's not the same as when the ball is moving. But
that doesn't necessarily. It's probably a better way to play the game for wins. But
what is a better way to play the game for wins?
Being able to really have you got to have the ball moving. Rick Carlisle said at the end of last year, he said, and when you look at both of those teams that was in the finals, yes, they had their go-to guy, but any and everybody was comfortable taking the shot within the floor of the offense.
Because they're used to it. Because they're not. It's not just a high pick and roll.
So that changes things.
Yeah, but Parsons going. So
Parsons hurt. That's hurt.
How about the fact that the team that trades Parsons, the Dallas Cowboys, who were getting everyone's hopes up not that long ago, beat the Eagles head to head. Here they come. This is their year. It's hilarious to me. It's always funnier when they make the playoffs and then they lose because the Dallas fans go crazy and then get crushed. I hate the Dallas Cowboys. But as a Giants fan.
You hate the Dallas Cowboys?
I'm a Giants fan.
Fair.
So you love it because you're a businessman and they're good for business.
No, I want to see the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Right. That's
every
the
year.
thing. I'm saying they are not going to make the playoffs. They have like a 1% chance. They have to go 3-0. The Eagles have to go 0-3.
Eagles not going 0-3.
No.
But it's just always better when the Cowboys are in the playoffs.
I don't know about that. I think
it is. It's just like it's better when the Knicks are in the playoffs.
I think it's better when the Cowboys keep those hopes alive at least till late in the season.
No, man.
Because when they're in the playoffs, they're not making a run. They're not winning playoff games. It's just 1 week of the playoffs. I'd rather see the
Cowboys in the playoffs than not. As a fan of football.
I would rather see Dallas fans suffer. I'm like in that episode of South Park when Cartman tricks the kid into eating his own parents in a chili and then licks the tears off his face. That's what I want to do to Cowboys fans.
Well, you're a Giant. I'm a Browns fan, so I don't get in the middle of all of that. I like to see the Cowboys in the playoffs. The Cowboys have a lot of haters. I'm not one of those guys. I just like to see them in the playoffs.
So Parsons goes down. The Packers, I think, were live before that. I think you can't discount the Packers.
Of course they were.
The way I see it shaping up right now, if you say who's going to be in the NFC and AFC championship games, I'm looking at Rams over Eagles to get to the Super Bowl. You and I have been to some Rams games this year together. The Rams are
real.
Have everything you need from coach to quarterback to offense to defense, but they have a third down defense. On money down, those dudes are impossible. They come through when you need them. They have a clutch defense on top of it. I love the Rams this year. The Eagles are better than people realize, and they figured out winning games when they weren't even that good. The AFC to me is more interesting, Rich, because the Bills, it looks like the Bills' year.
It does.
You can't discount the Patriots or the Broncos, but it looks like the Bills here. But you know who I'd be scared of if I was the Bills?
Let me guess. Hold on.
Because I think this is who's going to be there in the end.
Texans.
100%. The Texans every now and then. First of all, C.J. Stroud is a dude who ever since college, I always got the feeling.
He's a Buckeye.
He has a chance to be special in big moments. He just gives me that feeling. And they got the coach. But the defense, especially the front seven, is an outlier defense, meaning there's some defenses that come along and you go, yo, that is, I know the Seahawks are really good and the Rams are really good, but the pressure that the Texans can get up front reminds me of watching the Bucs when they beat the Raiders in the Super Bowl. Middle of that year, maybe, what was that, 2002? Middle of that year, Mike Vick is killing everybody. He reels off 7 wins for Atlanta. They run into that Bucs defense and there's nothing you could do with it. And when I saw that, it was like, that looks like a Super Bowl team to me. That's the feeling I'm getting from the Texans right now. Like, if I was a fan of a team in the AFC, the last team I want them to play is the Texans.
Yes. The playoffs are always about matchups, as you know. That's a bad matchup for the Bills. The Bills should want to I don't know if they can dodge the Texans in any
what
capacity,
can you do?
But I know sometimes on the NBA side, you look at it, it's like,
can someone play traffic cop, right?
That's a bad matchup. So you may want to be 2 versus being 1. Therefore, you don't have to play these 2 teams twice.
Sure.
You only have to play one of them and let them 2 kind of cancel each other out.
Like there'll always be, not an asterisk, but in people's minds, they'll be like, but I want to see him do it against Mahomes. But if Josh Allen gets out of the AFC this year, with the Broncos and the Pats and the Texans sitting there waiting for them, that's a lot.
How crazy that is for people to think, I want to see, they have to do it against this person. It's like, no, they're not there.
But you can't deny.
No, if we get a Mahomes and Josh Allen AFC championship game, great. That's for us fans, and it's fantastic. At that point, I think you get a different food order. You probably take it up a notch. Do everything pretty much more top shelf because it's a top shelf showing coming up. You may get truffles or something on.
You mean for the watch party?
For the watch party, yeah. But no, if I'm Josh Allen, if I get there, it don't matter how I got there. Just get me there so I can. I'm not. If I win a Super Bowl, I win a Super Bowl.
Of course, you're right. But what I'm saying is, like, we were all waiting for Kobe and LeBron to meet in the finals. It never happened.
The puppets was amazing. First of all, that puppet commercial.
Yeah, right.
But again, it
didn't happen. That's a lost kind of.
But it goes back to, and here's, you get the fans, and again, just disclaimer. Everything that Rich says on this show is Rich's idea. It's Rich's thoughts.
Yeah, it's not coming from someone else.
It's not coming from
It is so funny to me. I read reactions. I'll see, and people will send them to certain reactions to me, and I'm thinking, like, the way this started, so people know, is I get a call from you maybe a year and a half ago.
Yes.
And I was already developing something that, and you were like, hey, are you ready to do this show? I thought you were kidding.
No.
I thought you wanted to rep me or something. I didn't know. So after about 5 minutes, it occurred to me, like, I wasn't taking it serious. And I was like, oh shit, he's serious. Yes. And then I thought, like, if Rich wants to do that, if he's willing to put himself out there, let's do it. And then much later on, Simmons calls me and the ringer gets involved. We're like, yes, we like that. But like the thought, what the people from afar think is that this has been orchestrated by like LeBron James.
It's the weirdest thing, but it just goes to show you really how people think. Yes, LeBron gave me an opportunity, and I am overly appreciative of. But if you talk to the man himself, he'll tell you that guy has his own mind. That guy took an opportunity and went and built something, which allows me to be in the position I am today to do this show. The reason why I wanted to do this show is because, again, I don't like to put a limit on myself. I know how far I can go, but there will be some times where I have to really just totally bluntly tell the truth about a scenario, and maybe one of my clients are involved and maybe they're not. But it was more so about being insightful, right? Being insightful and giving a perspective that I think there's an audience that wants to know. I can't worry about the audience that wants the drama or that only wants you to talk about one team in a perfect way. That's not how it works. But I say all that to say, I always get this thought, and I went and visited the George Lucas Museum. First of all, Max, you have to go.
I was a Star Wars fan as a kid.
No.
Woof.
It's not just about Star Wars.
Raiders of the Lost Ark? What?
When I tell you that you have to go see this museum.
I'm in.
I had, Melly Hobson, she invited me to go, and she was an unbelievable host, and George was there as well. And when I tell you, this place, I can't even...
So hold on, wait, time out, rewind. You didn't just go to the George Lucas Museum. You got a tour from George Lucas?
Yes.
That's not the experience everyone's going to have, you realize.
Well, also,
and now I'm not going to the George Lucas Museum because I will not get a tour unless I get a tour from George Lucas.
No. You should, no. You should definitely go. And I also went with someone else, but I can't say it, but I can say it without saying it. And it was great. It was phenomenal. I'm going back. And
because he probably let you ride around in the Millennium Falcon or something.
It's going to be
a VIP treatment.
This place is going to be a place that, how kids hang out and you be like, I don't want them hanging over there. You're going to want your kid hanging here. You are going to want your kid to hang here. So,
all right,
we have to go. I'll take you.
All right, good. I'm in. But George, you got to be there. What you were saying about clients ruffling feathers, this and that, I couldn't. Well, first of all, let me just say this. So I'm watching the Cowboys game. I get a text in our group text with you, me, and Simmons from Simmons like, oh, this Lakers game is crazy. And I'm so frustrated because the reason I'm just like, you know what, to hell with it, I'm just on the Cowboys, is because I have 15,000 subscriptions to different services and all kinds of apps. And if I, after all that, trying to find the Lakers game, have to...
While living in L.A.?
While living in L.A., I have to go to 2 different places, come up with passwords that I forgot. I'm out. It is driving me crazy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not watching. Did not see the only thing I saw.
Missed a really good game.
I know. I watched the Cowboys lose, which was a lot of fun for me. But and then I saw the end of the game because I had to find it after the fact. How do you deal with having 2 clients in a game? I mean, one of them's a bigger client, but you have to represent the interest of both. You have LeBron James and Dillon Brooks.
Yes.
And they get into it.
Yes.
And, I'm not one of these guys who's like conspiracy theory in the 16 finals. Oh, because the league got rid of Draymond. Because to me, that was a brilliant move by LeBron. If you have a hothead on the other team and you can goad him, and he's got a lot of fouls, like his next tech, he's suspended for a game, and you can goad him into a tech, good for you. That's what LeBron did to Draymond. He kind of goaded Dillon Brooks into a critical mistake late in the game when Dillon Brooks got the tech. And maybe that leads to there were more plays after that, but it was a close game. And LeBron figured out a way to get his team a little advantage, and Dillon Brooks gave it to him. What do you do after a game like that, Lakers win? How do you deal with both clients?
Well, simple. First of all, I think people get representing players and being a nanny mixed up. I'm not a nanny. It's like these guys are grown men. You got 2 guys.
Overgrown.
2 guys competing, right? Compete.
But do you get on, if you communicate with Dillon Brooks, it's like, yo, what are you doing?
I love Dillon Brooks.
But do you advise him? Hey, what are you doing?
What do you mean? No, he's playing basketball. He's doing what he don't play for the Lakers.
He got teed up in what turned out to be a 1 or a 2 point game.
I mean, obviously, Dylan Brooks, Mike George is Dylan Brooks' agent at Klutch Sports Group.
Right.
And we represent Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks, obviously, you don't want it to go that far, and you could say, well, it could have went either way. It was in the heat of the battle and things like that. But let me just tell you something. Like I said this the other day when we were talking about the Rockets. I can guarantee you that Rafael Stone, if he could have kept Dylan Brooks and got Kevin Durant, he would have. And I'll tell you another thing. If there's a team out there that can go and get Dylan Brooks that actually has a chance to win the championship, they should. Because, yeah, he had the situation where he didn't make the shots in the series against Memphis a couple years back. But you want that guy on your team.
Competitive.
Yeah. And he's a guy that you probably don't want to play against every night. But if he's in your locker room, you want that.
Classic case of a dude who you hate when he's on the other team, but if he's on your team, you love him.
And so, could some things get a little chippy, whatever the case may be? At the end of the day, poke the bear. Like, I want that. I don't want it to the extent that he gets a technical foul.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want it to that extent.
Actually, the dude who poked was the bear. The bear poked and got the reaction.
But here's what I'm saying. I think you go just, and I think he knows this, you go just right up to that. So that was unfortunate. You learn from that. But I enjoyed the combat, the competition of it all. I enjoyed the challenge. And you know what? For LeBron, in his case, he's in year 23. There's nothing he hasn't seen, right? And so when you're going into a game like that, it's a Sunday night in Phoenix. At the end of the day, he played a pretty good game last night.
Hit two of the final three free throws to get the win.
Well, he should have made the technical free throw.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he should have made the and we'll talk about that later on tonight. But nevertheless, he came back and
Why is LeBron shooting that technical free throw?
You could look at it both ways, but here's the thing.
He's not he's not the worst free throw shooter. He's not a great free throw shooter.
But when you look on the floor, I actually like the challenge of him taking that free throw because it's all a mental thing. So the fact that he wanted to take that free throw, you just got to knock it down. Okay, fine. But now you draw the foul on Devin, and he makes 2 or 3. So you win that game. But
was it a foul?
Oh, it was a foul. I'm not saying that because if it wasn't a foul, I would say it wasn't a foul. But I think Devin would probably say, man, would you have called that in the first quarter? Probably not.
That was a little ticky-tack. Yeah.
But nevertheless, they called it. Look, there's been plenty of calls that went against the Lakers, right?
Yep.
So for once or twice, they get a call, fine, whatever. But nevertheless, what I'm saying is LeBron has seen everything in 23 years. I believe that some nights you need that challenge because the regular season could be dull, it could be boring. I didn't mind it. I really didn't mind it. And I didn't mind. It always take him to get up to here for you to really, because he don't really get rattled. He don't, people try antics. We've seen the blow, the kiss in the ear from Lance Stevenson. You've seen people try to
blew in his ear.
Do something, do different things. And it's always when you get them to that point. I like that person because that's when it get,
So you don't really after a game like that, you don't have to thread the needle. I'm trying let's give him a peek behind the curtain. In other words, Klutch Sports, you have an agent that's not you who represents Dylan Brooks directly, even though you're the head of Klutch Sports. Yeah. So it's not like you have to text with Dylan Brooks after the game, like, what are you doing or something like that.
I'm sure Mike George talked with Dylan and was like, and I'm sure Dylan talked with himself. Like, at the end of the day, you want to go right up to that. And it could have went either way. That could have also been nothing, right? It depends on the night, right? Every night is different. It could have also been nothing. So that was unfortunate. But no, it's just one of those things where it's just like, tomorrow's another game.
So last week I was talking about the cup, right? The Emirates Cup, the NBA.
You were wrong, by the way.
Well, I wait.
NBA Cup
let's not
fashion.
misremember what I said. I did not say this is bad. I said it's better than nothing, meaning it's good. I just think it could be better.
How
That
great
said-
was that game for the NBA? I'm just talking, just for the league.
Which one?
Well, both were really good, but I'm talking about the Spurs Thunder game
That was the fact that Wemby comes back, and he kind of looks like a
on a
new.
minute restriction.
You know what I watch? I watch this with my daughters a lot now, like nature shows, right? You see like with the lions and the gazelles and whatever else and the wildebeest. When you see a newborn calf and their knees are all like this and they can't really run yet, Wemby came back kind of looking like that. Wemby did not have his most coordinated game. He looked like shaky, but his impact on the game, even in that condition, when you're like, that's not good, Wemby, is so ridiculous that every now and then a guy comes along. You and I debate MJ, LeBron. MJ to me, number one. And by the way, I think decisively number one, and I think LeBron is decisively number two. However, and obviously you feel differently. However, every now and then a guy comes along and you go, can he replace LeBron one day, for example?
Replace him where?
Replace MJ one day, for example, LeBron. LeBron came along, you're like, can he, like every now and then you put your eyes on a guy and you go, maybe that dude is the one who can displace Michael Jordan at the very top. And I haven't seen that happen yet. I think LeBron's come closest.
See, but here's my question.
But what I'm saying is Wemby is the new guy who I look at and I go, I just wonder, can he be known as the best player ever one day if he stays healthy? Because his impact on the court is ridiculous.
But see,
he was not having a great game, and and they beat the Thunder.
Yes, but let me ask you a question. When I was a kid, right, and I had a ton of trophies. I was a pretty decent Muni League sports player, and I would get my trophies and I would put them up, and I would get another trophy, put it up there. I never took a trophy down. So when you talk about replace, it's like, no, Michael Jordan's up there. If someone else comes along and they go on the same shelf as Michael Jordan, which is, i.e., LeBron, you put him up there. Kobe goes up on the shelf with Michael Jordan. I now think Steph Curry goes up on the shelf with those guys.
If you think Steph Curry is on the same shelf with Michael Jordan,
I think Steph.
Are you?
Here's what I think. I didn't say Steph Curry was as good as Michael Jordan. I'm saying
they're not on the same shelf.
For what? If there's different trophies, man. It don't have to be a 7 foot. If Michael Jordan's trophy is 7 foot tall and Steph Curry's trophy is 5 feet tall, and they're on the same shelf, what does that mean?
So what I'm saying is, if Michael Jordan's trophy is 7 feet tall, and to me LeBron's trophy is 6'11", but when I looked at LeBron, I thought, is that going to be a 7'1" trophy? I wound up 6'11", pretty close.
Okay, let me give you a different analogy.
I'm saying I look at Wemby thinking, does he wind up with the tallest trophy ever? Like
you can't say that because generations
and he's doing this.
Here's what I'm saying: you can't say that because generations are different. But to put to your point with Wemby, what was the critical? You didn't watch the game. I did. Did you watch the whole game?
I didn't watch the whole game.
Okay, there was a critical point in the game where Wemby contested a floater. I mean, you're shooting the ball over Wemby, so you damn near got to throw the ball like descending level when a plane is landing, like that high in the sky.
I think I know the play you're talking about.
But then the defense, the offensive rebound went into the hands of, I don't know if it was Hardenstein or somebody else, and Wemby turned around and knocked it out of his hands. So he didn't get the block. He contested, but it made the ball fall short. And then the guy had the offensive rebound, and within pretty much the same landing, he turned and knocked the ball out, and they went the other way.
I know the play you're talking about. And by the way, Wemby had a dozen plays that made me think that who else can do that?
But here's the thing. And Wemby, I got in trouble, not in trouble, but I got criticized in 2019 when I made this, I was doing an article, I think it was Dave McMenamin, and I said that I felt like playmaking from the bigs, I felt like AD was the best playmaking big. This was, I mean, it's Jokic and it's AD, but just
now it's Jokic, but back then,
but
Jokic,
But I was speaking in terms of, I said when Giannis gets that playmaking ability, the Bucks are going to win it. They would win a championship, and lo and behold, they did, right? And he got better with his playmaking. Wemby's the type of guy, I watch it, but I'm 50-50 on this because normally I would be like, if you draw 2 or 3, you kick it. But the difference is,
He doesn't have to.
this is what I'm saying. The difference is he's literally at the rim. So I don't know.
And can shoot it, by the way.
But what I'm saying is when he rolls, right, he is literally like, he's at the dots, but his hand is at the rim. So even though Vassell or Fox or Cat, they may be open in the corner, and normally you want that guy to spray it, I'm kind of leaving it up to Wemby because only he can feel his way through if I can lay this ball up or kick it out.
But watching that game, I did think like there's no real answer to that except that on the other team, on OKC, if you want an answer to Wemby, and I don't just mean head to head. I mean a guy who can do a lot of the same stuff, so you got to account for that on the other team.
You're saying Chet.
Chet is like, if you want an answer for Wemby, you're not going to do better than Chet.
Yeah, Chet's really good, but there is no answer for Wemby. Let's just be clear.
But
if Wemby decides, here's the thing.
He's
Wemby,
unstoppable.
If Wemby decides that he's going to play efficient basketball every night, there is no. First of all,
but Chet kind of does that, by the way. Chet plays efficient. And
he's
7 foot
Wemby.
a million or whatever.
Wemby's 7'4".
No, what's Chet?
7 feet.
No.
7'2", maybe.
Yeah, Chet is super tall.
No, Chet is, but what I'm saying is, if Wemby decides that this is how he's going to play, the league is in trouble. But here's what I want to say.
Does that mean this year?
It could be this year.
That's what I'm saying. The cup might
possibly
be a preview of the finals. Knicks and Spurs could be the finals.
See, I got to keep my eye on you because you say stuff just because it's New York, right? But listen.
You see the way Towns has been playing defense recently?
Towns has stepped it up. Here's the thing. I always said the Knicks are a surface level trade of getting to the finals, not surface level.
What's surface level mean?
I just think somewhere in the guard space, right?
Okay.
Because, like when the Pistons won, one day it was Aguirre, one day it was
if
Vinny
Josh
Johnson.
Hart shot it better from 3, they wouldn't need anything.
I'm just saying they need a little surface level trade. But think about the Spurs for a second. The way you win against the Thunder is what they shown us. They had guys that can switch. Right?
Yeah.
They had guys, you talk about advancing the ball straight off the rebound, boom, kicking it ahead. Guys made shots. If the Spurs make shots, they're a very tough team to beat, fully healthy. But they got 5 guys that can make a play.
That's the thing. That, like what you just said, when the Warriors had Dre at the 5 and played 5 out because he had so much space to shoot and then so he shot like 38% from 3 1 year.
And they had those shooters coming off the misdirection and
it's
slipping
crazy.
And they
back. But what this is on the Spurs is you got 5 dudes who are all playmakers and one of them is 7'5" or whatever he is. It's a whole
Well, can we talk
lot.
about this for a second? Let's rewind it all the way back.
Uh-huh.
Do you know Mitch Johnson?
What about him?
You know who he is?
Yeah.
He's the head coach of the Spurs.
Yeah.
Mitch Johnson worked pre-draft camp for me with DeJounte Murray.
Mm-hmm.
He and DeJounte's uncle Terry was with DeJounte when we signed him. Mitch Johnson then goes on. He works our pre-draft camp. We're there every day. Knows basketball.
Sure.
DeJounte goes to the Spurs. Mitch goes and works for the G League team. Mm-hmm. Then he works his way to the back of the bench. Then he works his way to the front of the bench. Now he is the head coach of the Spurs. The Spurs could have hired.
It's Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of culture.
I'm just saying, the Spurs could have hired anybody. They got a ton of people from their tree. They give this guy the opportunity, right? Fair. Then you make the trade for Fox, which
a client of yours.
Yeah, make the trade for Fox. But you draft Castle, Vassell, pay Vassell, Harper, obviously Wemby. When you think about this, you got to pay Wemby. You got to pay him, right? But it's when you pay him and how it works. So now when you look at their books and you look at their talent, they're so positioned because you're getting production from these young players that is probably
on their rookie deals
anywhere between $35 to $50 million a year of worth of production.
And you're paying a fraction of it. Yeah.
And when you look at the buy-in,
Mitch doing a hell of a job.
When you look at Wemby comes back, you got to get the guy the ball. Nobody's fretting at that. But then you see Castle have 31 night. I think 4 guys was in their 20s.
When you said that, what you just said about 5 playmakers
and they all
on
can
the
make
floor,
a play.
It's crazy. It's like I see it as like an evolution of what was started in Golden State.
But then you have a guy like a Keldon Johnson, right? Everybody needs that type of guy.
Right.
Here's a guy that played here and was probably the best player on his high school team, came in talented, pretty highly talented in college, was just outside of the lottery pick or close to lottery pick. And so now, can he buy in to play a role? He's done it now. So now you look at that, you got Cornette comes in, coming from Boston, playing the right way. We know the professional that Harrison Barnes is, right? Some days he's finishing games, some days he's not.
But you also have a mix of veterans with the young players.
You're not going to get a peep out of him.
So are the Spurs live to knock OKC out and stop them from getting to the finals?
I think if the Spurs, first of all, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. We can't discount Denver.
Of course.
Okay. I think the Spurs, the way they're built and the way they approach the game, they are.
And the Knicks could get out of the East, correct?
The Knicks could definitely get out of the East,
So
yes.
the Cup really is. It is a pretty, I'm not saying it's better than 50-50, but like as a probability, but it's a fairly high probability. Like, it's not 5% or something like that, that this is, the Cup is a preview of the finals. It'd be super interesting if the winner of, there's a result from the Cup, and then that team tries to either defend that or avenge it in the finals. That's interesting.
But isn't that? I guess that's not what the NBA kind of created the Cup for.
No, but it might work out that way.
But you could start to see that in the event that teams start to take the beginning of the season very serious. Because I tell you, man, the Thunder and the Spurs are serious.
Right.
I think the Knicks, first of all, when you have Mike Brown, you can't BS with Mike Brown. There's no BSing with Mike Brown. You got to defend. You have to defend.
He's also an interesting choice to succeed Thibodeau, because Tibbs, to me, Tibbs is the kind of guy, if you're going to use him as a head coach, you bring into the organization to get you to a certain level.
Do you know what tree Mike Brown's from?
What tree? When he took over head coach of Cleveland, I'm trying to think of, now I can't think of it.
Spurs.
Oh, right.
Where's Presti?
Right. Same thing. Yep. But Brown is like, Tibbs gets you to a certain level. And Mike,
I thought Tibbs was great, though.
He did, but like at a certain point, the team is playing with such intensity all year. Guys are accruing a lot of minutes, et cetera, and it's usually he bumps up against the second round of the playoffs. And it's interesting to me.
One year, guys went down.
That's true, and they would have beaten the pace. They would have beaten the pace. But even you go down if you're logging all these minutes all year, you're more likely to go down.
Well, you can't have it both ways.
Why not? You
can't say, don't play guys. You mad at guys for having load management, but then you saying don't play guys
No,
too many
not
minutes.
load management, but I mean, Tibbs goes to short rotations probably earlier in the season than most. He really, because he is, what I like about Tibbs
fair.
is
he's always had that
he
issue.
gets you competitive right away. He cares about winning this game, and that gets your franchise to a certain level of competitiveness and professionalism and all that stuff. But because he is focusing on winning every single game throughout the regular season, playing both sides of the ball, the whole thing, there's a certain limit at the playoffs. I bring all this up to say Mike Brown was not the first guy I had in mind for the Knicks, but he seems to be the right guy for the job for them to take the next step.
Well, he was the familiar pick. He was a safe pick. He was a tenured pick also, because when you think about it, he went to the finals. He been to I don't know, I can't even tell you how many times Mike Brown's been to the finals as a coach in general at this point. We know he went as a head coach in 2007. He went as an assistant in Golden State. I think more than once, right? So when you really put everything on the board, I mean, who's actually more suited? But let me ask you this question. This leads to something. Do you think Tibbs was, sometimes guys become head coaches because they just become head coaches, but do you think they have more value as assistant head coaches?
Yeah. By the way, I brought up Josh McDaniels earlier. When you look at the Patriots, when they went bananas offensively, it was Josh McDaniels as the OC. Then he gets a head coaching job. Now, usually this happens with defensive coordinators, right? And Keyshawn Johnson always used to say when we were doing radio, I want a defensive coordinator with dandruff on the shoulders, like an older guy, because doesn't have ambition to be a head coach. He's just doing his job.
Yeah.
And Josh McDaniels is like that. Tried as a head coach, didn't exactly work out. Now he's back with the Pats as the OC, and it looks right again, right? And if the Pats wind up winning a Super Bowl with Drake May and Vrabel, it's McDaniels who will straddle the Belichick, Brady, Vrabel, May eras, right? Like, it's interesting to me. There's like an example of an offensive head coach, Tex Winter with Phil Jackson in Chicago, in LA. It's the same thing. It works, right? I believe that Thibodeau as a head coach,
Clemens was also a big piece of that coaching staff too.
Thibodeau to me is a coach, as I said. If you want to get your organization competitive again, bring Tibbs in as a head coach. If you want to win a championship, he's basically your D coordinator. He's basically your assistant coach that's coaching up the defense. So do
you think some coaches...
He'd be a good fit with D'Antoni.
Yes.
If D'Antoni's the head coach.
But let me ask you a question. Do you think that some coaches... Because it's so confusing, because you want to be... you coach to become a head coach. But there's almost this world where it's like, nah, man, I'm going to overpay you.
Definitely.
Because sometimes organizations is like, oh, we can't pay him that he's not a head coach. Well, if it impacts winning, then pay him to stay.
There was a pitching coach, Leo Mazzoni, with the Atlanta Braves in the 90s. Every single pitcher that they took off the scrap heap had a great season. And at a certain point, you say, okay, it's not just that he has Maddox and Smoltz and Glavine, Jared Wright or whoever it is they grab has career years with this dude. And I used to think, who cares what pitching coaches normally make? If I was a team, even a small market team, you grab a guy like Leo Mazzoni and you say, whatever you're making there, put a 0 on the end of it. Because if you can't pay $8 million to a pitching coach, and really, you'll give that to a mediocre veteran who's not going to really help you that much. You wouldn't take that to fix your whole pitching staff?
Well, see, but here's the thing. This where, when you talk about ownership, this is where ownership actually comes into play. Because you need the deep pockets to be able to make these type of decisions. It's not going to be the salary decisions. They are what they are. But it's these type of decisions that I think can take things overboard. But before we go, I want to say something, or not take things overboard, that can make things consistent right?
Or get it to the next level. You mentioned
keep
Joe
it
Lacob.
at the next level.
He's not satisfied.
Yeah,
He's
you
always
keep
want,
it.
yeah.
You keep it at the next level,
because it takes that. Because the league is adjusting to you. You got to get better.
Yeah, so you need that backing from your ownership to be able to do these things. But I want to say something. I really want to say, like, at some point, this senseless gun violence has to really come to an end.
I can't.
Because
I can't do it.
And I
it's
want to
not
say,
just about what happened.
I don't want to get into anything political.
I know,
I'm just saying.
What we can, but what I'm saying is, Rich, what happened, and normally I'm the one who would talk about gun laws and the gun lobby and the NRA and all that stuff. That's not what yesterday was about. That is not what yesterday was about.
I'm talking about Brown University.
I am talking about Brown University.
And I'm talking about...
That's not what that was about.
Australia.
Right. And as a Jewish man, let me just tell you, it wasn't about the issue yesterday and in Bondi was not about gun violence. It was about anti-Semitism. And that's something I'm so upset about it that I really don't want to talk about it. But that's what we are facing. But
what about the Brown University? My prayers go out
to the families. It looks like the same thing in
because
Brown.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
It does.
Well, you know that better than me, but it's just unfortunate, man. So I just wanted to say,
unfortunate is an understatement.
Prayers out to those families and those communities, because it's
the right sentiment,
sickening.
Rich. And I can tell you that I was so happy to have sports to concentrate on, to take my mind off it, because it's making me, like I'm doing the first night of Hanukkah with my daughter last night, and Hanukkah is about thousands of years ago, Jews are being persecuted and they fought back. And that's really what the Maccabees, that's what Hanukkah is really about. And on the eve, this stuff happens on opposite sides of the world. On opposite sides of the world. But it's the same old, if you're Jewish, it's the same old story. And Jewish people are looking around right now saying, where are our allies? Because it feels like there's a level of tolerance of anti-Semitism now around the world that is sickening. And so when I do a holiday, even like Hanukkah, which is not a big serious holiday in the Jewish, but it's it's based on actual events. And I talked to my daughter about that this is that, and the fact that, because we will, as we do it, I'm saying this is not just something that lives in a tradition that is disconnected from our reality, is very connected to our reality. One of the reasons I think that, I always get invited to the cookout, so to speak, right? And that's because growing up as a Jewish person who understands your history, you identify with oppressed people. And when you see that stuff pop up against any persecuted group, you're like, no, not okay. And you want to be an ally to that group of people. And Jewish people right now are looking around going, where are our allies? Yeah, 100%. Now, you brought that up. Now I'm going to take my mind off it because I'm really upset about it. But I'm excited for those.
Oh, the RPs?
Yeah.
You got
RPs.
Yours, right?
I got mine. Can you show people the label on that?
The logo?
The logo? It's not visible.
Actually, I'm wearing this is like one of the first sample pairs I have on right now.
I get this. I know it's a hard turn from what we just talked about.
No, it's all good. We need to end on a light note.
I get these pairs from Rich, and the logo, if you look at it closely, it looks like an R, but also a P. It's so fresh.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Did we on this show?
It's David Creech. Yeah, we talked about that on the first time. But again, excited. I have a great partner in New Balance. I think we really crushed this. And this, like I said, the story behind them is, just it's part of what we just talked about. Like really being unbothered by all the BS and really being able to come together as a community, being able to persevere and really push through and be motivated by a number of things.
Launch party tonight.
We're gonna have a real vibe. A real vibe.
Am I supposed to wear my RPs?
You can do whatever you want. Right. You should if you want to be comfortable.
I'm going to break them out.
Because we're going to cut a rug. But it's real vibey. You've never been to one of my vibes.
No.
It's chill. It's not all raw. It's really you'll have a good time. But I'm excited.
Now that is tonight. And
That's
then
tonight.
Tomorrow, it's somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
Now, that's the
It is.
cue. The
Oh,
birthday
wow.
is the cue.
It is my
Look at
birthday
this.
tomorrow.
It is. How old are you tomorrow?
I'll be 45.
45.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Come back like Jordan, wearing the 4-5.
Wearing
I
the
hate to play
4-5.
games with you.
You
Let me
don't
see
want to
what
see
I
what's
got
in
here.
there?
Is this a gift from you, Max?
No, it's from everybody. It's from
I was about to say, you only do Lord Piana or Cuccinelli, but I take Krispy Kreme.
Did they Krispy Kreme all day? Yeah, Chris Rock was right about Krispy Kreme, man. It's like you fiend for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you know I like Krispy Kreme donuts?
Well, this once again,
We need a Krispy Kreme sponsorship.
I mean, they're getting free plug right now.
Yeah, not for long. Is this all glazed? Oh, smells good.
Glaze is your favorite, right?
Glaze was my favorite, but this box is hard. What's going on with this
Would
box?
you like me to open it for you?
Oh, I have it. Oh, perfect.
There you go.
Yeah, this is great. Although,
Happy birthday,
after
brother. I'll
watching
see
my
you tonight.
diet. Oh, yeah, we'll celebrate tonight.
We'll
It'll
celebrate
be
tonight, and
great.
then we got
And-
another one of these on Wednesday.
Here's the thing. Tonight, I want you to do me a favor.
Yeah.
I want you to pay close attention to the DJ.
All right.
His name is DJ Neal.
DJ Mill, got
And
it.
he DJs all types of events
Okay.
and parties. Don't matter. He's a part of this group that two DJs, DJ Mill and DJ Steph Floss. But DJ Mill's tonight, they call it the good guys. But DJ Mill's tonight.
There it is.
You gonna book him?
I'll see you on
You gonna book
Wednesday.
him? I see you on Wednesday.
Must be 21 and over in present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and over and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.